It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. It was the best. It was the best. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. It was the best. You stupid monkey.
In 2016, we were invited into the world of The Division, where a plague was released into New York, resulting in mass casualties and causing Manhattan to go into quarantine. You play as an agent of the Division, tasked with restoring the city. In The Division 2, we return to the same story, and this time we're whisked away to the magical land of Washington, D.C., in a story that takes place just 7 months after the events of the first game. It's a new location, a new season, and a new adventure for the Division crew. I want to give you a first-hand experience of what your 30-hour playtime will be like through the initial campaign. That's it. Run to a place, shoot a guy, pick up his guns, loot a box, run to another place, shoot another guy, pick up his guns, loot another box, and continue until your eyeballs pop out of your skull. I will say that I'm only 20 hours in at the time of this review, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what happens in the end game. It's incredibly addictive play for anyone who enjoyed the last game. All of your favourite stuff from the first game is back, and more polished than ever. Missions through winding corridors, over-the-top combat sequences, and of course, stupid AI. While fight sequences can amp up with multiple enemies, you'll find that a good tactic is to set a defendable position and wait till your opponents simply walk into your guns. That of course will not be the case once you get to the Dark Zone, which sets players loose on each other as well as the enemy. In this highly competitive environment, it is not safe to go alone. Take several heavy friends. This game mode has always been the shining light of this series, and one thing you should make time for above all else. There really is no secret to The Division 2. It's absolutely enjoyable. The combat is great, the controls are slick and responsive, and the menu system is relatively easy for an RPG. The gadgets that you get to play with are immensely entertaining and will have you mucking around with new tactics for hours. And the pickups. Oh boy, you'll love them. Picking up that next gun from the corpse of a fallen heavy is pretty gosh darn satisfying. It's literally video game crack. You just want one more hit, one sneaky weapon drop, and then you can rest your eyeballs for 5 seconds. While the game plays well, the look and feel is slightly lost in the transition to the new location. It looks and feels exactly like the environment from Division 1, although the buildings are significantly shorter. It's missing the personality of New York and may have been much better suited to another iconic city from around the world. Almost anywhere other than Washington, D.C. You could have literally spun a globe around and stuck a pin in another more suitable spot. With the change of seasons, you also get a lighter feel to this game. There's that summery feeling in the air. And this is a huge shift from the last game. I'm not entirely sure it sets the right tone. Trudging through the streets of New York in snow and sleet had that dystopian feel to it that you would expect from a world ravaged by a deadly virus. The Division 2 asks us to imagine a world where asthma is lethal and then gives us sunshine, green grass, and animals frolicking in the street. Someone needs to have a word to the guys at Massive Entertainment to tell them to get the dank back.
Seems nobody wants to hang out in a dank pit no more.
You ain't thinking of getting rid of the dank, are you, Mo?
Maybe I am.
Oh, but Mo, the dank! The dank!
The Division 2 is an all-round solid action-adventure game. I will shy away from exactly calling it an RPG, because once again the character you play in the game is identifiable only in the cosmetic items you place on them. There's no sense of personality to them beyond your preference and weaponry. The combat is fast and exciting. You'll feel the rising dread of the next battle coming on as the score starts thumping before you enter a room. The flash of the warning, this is a no respawn zone. The approaching drum of boots from a ridiculously over-armoured boss. The clatter of gunfire and explosions banging. It's quite an intoxicating experience. And while the story takes place 7 months after the events of the first game, it feels like the equivalent amount of time has been spent on the development of the Division 2. That's not to say that it isn't enjoyable, because it absolutely is. Take out the odd technical glitch where the sound cuts out when you're firing a gun, your frame rate dips, or you simply walk through objects in the environment. they're all minor polishing issues that can be picked up later on. It's just a little disappointing that they've chosen not to do more with this series when they had the opportunity. It's essentially the same game in a new street map with slightly shorter buildings in summer. If anything, I think they should be renaming this to The Division 1.5. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my grind because I've got a gas mask that's in serious need of an upgrade. For all the latest on The Division 2 and other games, subscribe to Shaken Not Nerd on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, or you can subscribe to the Shaken Not Nerd podcast on your favourite podcatcher.
You're unflattered. Maybe even a little curious.
I wouldn't even hear me